Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Above Par Golf Show. Welcome to the first episode of my brand new podcast. And joining me today is Mike Bartels. He is a golf fashion advisor. Welcome, Mike. Thank you very much for joining me. How are you today?
I'm doing well. Thank you for the great intro, and I'm excited to be your first guest. This is awesome.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it. So for those of you that don't know who Mike is, so Mike, you're the host of the podcast Pins Pod on Spotify, iTunes, correct? And then we can also find you on Instagram at Pins and Passports.
Yes.
Okay, cool. So tell me a little bit about yourself, first of all. I read that you're from Missouri and you're now living in North California. Is that correct?
Yeah. So born and raised in Missouri my entire life. And then just over 2.5 years ago, my full-time job that I say funds my fun, that moved me over to Northern California. So just in the East Bay area. But we've been enjoying it. Weather is great, golf all year round, and the courses here are just absolutely amazing. You can drive an hour and a half, 2 hours south and be in Monterey. You can drive an hour north and be in just fantastic golf. I mean, the privates here are fantastic. The publics are awesome. So it's been a great time. We've been really enjoying it.
So did you get into golf when you moved to North California? I read something where you became obsessed with it in Missouri before you moved to North California. So what sort of made you get into golf in the first place? Like, how old were you? When did you get into it, and why?
Yeah, so my story is a little different from what I feel like it's the typical, how I got into golf story. I started golf very late in my life, so it was more around the 25 time frame. Yeah, so it was
one of my biggest regrets right now. I'm kind of like, why didn't I start this when I was 5 years old? No, that could have been something.
I know. Yeah, exactly. Well, and the funny thing is that so many people who started young get so burnt out so early because they've just been bombarded with it. So it's always, you can always hear from both sides. But I got into it. My buddies were always going to golf. It was never serious. It was just going out, having some beers, hanging out with the guys.
Sure.
And at the same time, I was starting in corporate America. So golf is always kind of that easy connector to so many people. So I thought, well, I might as well get into golf so that when these events and things come up where I can be more present and be, face to face with different people, I'm not a hack while I'm out there. So got into golf and just took it very nonchalant. It was fun, wasn't worried about it, didn't really care about a whole lot, just going out and having fun. And then I thought to myself, well, if I'm going to be doing this like every weekend, I might as well be semi-good. And then that turned into becoming obsessed with my golf swing. And then it was everything involved with golf, from the fashion, from the swag, from all, the shoes, all of it. So it all just kind of consumed me. And then I've been all in for right at probably 11 years.
Golf bug, basically.
Yeah.
Golf bug. Yeah. I mean, I felt the exact same way. I started actually only about a year or so ago. And I always felt, why didn't I start this early? Why didn't I start this earlier? But I agree with you. You look at a lot of these professionals and they talk about the same sort of thing in terms of being burnt out. And I'm at that stage now where I'm just really, really enjoying my golf and not worrying too much about how well I'm doing because I've got no expectations of myself. So yeah, I mean, that's cool. I mean, I listened to a lot of your podcasts and I saw some of your blog posts that you've been in, and you talk a lot about the friends that you've made through golf as well. So that sounds like besides from the fashion, which we'll talk about later, the kind of connections that you make with other people and other golfers seems to be a big part of your game as well.
Yeah, it's been a huge part of my life. While I was still in Missouri, I had, your buddies from high school and growing up, but they were never kind of on like the same kind of level of golf that I was. So it was like, we go out, we play 9 holes or whatever, and that would be good for the day.
Yeah.
And I was always like, well, let's play 18, let's play 36. So I had one of my very good best friends. He was starting golf around the same time I was. So he was kind of on that level of junkie as me.
Yeah.
And then getting into social media and the golf community, like that bubble just started to expand and expand and expand. I started to make some really good friends in different parts of the country, which is awesome because we'd get together and do golf trips. And it's always very intimidating when you go do these trips. You talk to people on Instagram all the time, and then you actually sit down and play golf with them, and you're like, oh my God, they're probably way better than I am. And then you realize that everybody's on the same level. They say they're a 5, but really they're a 10. Like, it's like, okay,
we've all got that friend,
you're
right?
not as good as me, but we're on the same page.
Sure.
Yeah.
No, I mean,
and then,
yeah, sorry, I was going to just really quickly say that I kind of echo that, because I started this channel and the podcast idea a matter of 3 or 4 weeks ago. And similar to when I reached out to yourself on Instagram, I reached out to some other people, and I just noticed quickly like how the golf community are all just so invested in helping each other. Like yourself, it was just, of course, I'll come on and do an episode. And I got that kind of vibe from the majority of people I spoke to, no matter, you know, how many followers they had or how many subscribers. It was just like, yeah, of course, let's jump on and do an episode and talk some golf. And I've really kind of been welcomed, if you like, by that. It's been really nice.
Yeah, it is. The golf community is great in that aspect. It's very hard to find people that don't kind of fit the vibe. I feel like everybody that I've talked to is on the same wavelength. We're here to help everybody. We want to play golf with everybody. You know, it's just a matter of time before we all can start connecting, you know, whether it's across the pond or here domestically, and really start playing golf with everyone. Because I kind of feel like everybody's itching to play golf with everybody.
For sure. Cool. And go back to Missouri then, where you grew up. What's the golf game like there? I mean, especially for somebody like me that's from the United Kingdom, we know that California, Florida are the big places for golf, of course, but there are also other states that have got some beautiful golf courses. So what's golf like there? Is it one of the biggest sports? Are people into it there? Is there many like really big golf courses to go to? What's the golf game like there?
So Missouri's golf is interesting. So Branson, Missouri, which is probably about 2 hours outside of downtown Missouri, they're having this huge boom in golf right now because they have Paynes Valley, Buffalo Ridge. They have this whole little resort area called Big Cedar, which is just exploding. It's a destination for people now, which I find to be very funny being from Missouri. But people are wanting to go there. They're wanting to see Tiger's course in Paynes Valley. They're wanting to see the 2 par 3 courses that are there, and then there's 2 other courses that are full championship size courses. But really, as far as like the metropolitan area of Missouri, it's okay. I mean, there are some very nice privates in Belle Reve, which, you know, where they held the PGA. St. Louis Country Club is a very, very pretty course, very nice course. Boone's Valley is another private. But outside of that, like, you know, Missouri doesn't have the public golf scene that California has.
Sure.
I mean, you look at, for instance, Torrey Pines. Torrey Pines is a municipal golf course, you know, that's holding a major. The only course in Missouri that could hold a major is a private course, which like happens for a lot, but you know, they just don't have that level of quality public tracks out there.
Sure. Okay. And is it, say, like a kid that comes up through the college system there, would you say it's the same as kind of the California, Florida colleges for kids that are coming up? Or again, is it maybe like a little bit less popular to play in college, or do they not bring as much talent through as maybe the other states? Because I'm a big American football fan, and I know that a lot of the football players that are moving from high school to college to get drafted, they often go to the more popular states like California to play rather than maybe a different state.
Yeah, I mean, I would say that Missouri, they don't pull a lot of high recruits when it comes to golf, only because you can't golf year round. So that's the downside, is that you're limited to, you know, basically the summertime, fall time, and then once wintertime hits, I mean, you can go, but it's 30 degrees and freezing. So it's not really the most enjoyable golf.
Yeah.
But no, I would say that as far as colleges go, there's not a whole lot of colleges that are pulling good golfers.
Okay. Yeah. So going back to yourself then, I mean, I saw this name pop up a couple of times. Your nickname, where does this come from? Barrels.
Such a common question. So
I figured it might be, is what I wanted to know.
Yeah, my last name is Bartels, which is very commonly mispronounced. But what was happening is that I was in a big group chat with a bunch of golf guys, and we were chatting back and forth. And everybody, because there's so many Mikes in the world. So everybody kept saying Mike, Mike, Mike. And I was like, hey, I'm like, just call me by my last name. Like, it's Bartels. It'll be easier that way.
Yeah.
Like, we won't, me and the two other Mikes in this group won't be wondering who you're talking to. So they're like, okay. So Barrels kept popping up in all the conversations. And I'm like, I don't know who Barrels is, so I'm not going to address it. And finally somebody was like, hey man, why are you not responding to me? And I'm like, what do you mean? And they're like, I keep texting you and you're not saying anything in the group chat. Like, what's going on? And I was like, oh, I'm like, who? Like, and they're like, oh, well, it's auto-correcting to Barrels. And I was like,
Okay.
oh, that's why. So that just turned into my nickname. It was just like, okay, you're Barrels now. Like, this is
All
what
these
we're
guys
going
were
with.
writing
So
barrels, but they weren't realizing that it was also correcting, or did they know that
yeah,
it was also correcting?
no, they weren't realizing it was auto-correcting because, you hit send and then it would
whatever.
just pop up. So they're like, crap. So
you had
yeah,
no
that's how
idea that
Barrels
they were
came to
talking
be.
to you, and they had no idea that they were calling
Exactly.
you. That's funny.
And
So
then with my smaller stature, it started to fit really well.
Okay.
So it just kind of went with it.
Fair enough. And in terms of your golf game, then, what sort of handicap are you at? I saw you mentioned a handicap on one of your blogs, but I'm not sure if it's been updated since then. So where are you sort of at in your game at the moment? Or do you not
So right now,
or do you not really take much interest in that? Do you just try and enjoy it, or?
oh no, I definitely keep an index.
Me too.
I keep an index only because I'd like to know how I'm progressing as a player, right?
Exactly.
I mean, I'm obviously go out there to have fun. I want to have a good time. There are some times where I'll go play golf and I just won't keep a score at all. Like, during the week, me and my buddy, we'll go out after work and we'll just play to play. We might keep like match play score just for beers at the end, but really it's just a matter of, having a good time talking and walking. But my index is currently at a 13.6.
Okay.
But I've recently been keeping my stats through the GIN program for, fairways, greens, and putts. So I love the data that it's been providing me. I've been grinding over it and looking at it. But yeah, that's where it's at. My lowest I've been is a 12.6.
Wow.
So my goal is to be in the single digit. Now that doesn't have to be like 1 or 2 or 5, but like a 9 or an 8 would be really cool. I've also been told by a friend of mine that if you're just a really good 10, that's like the best place to be because you get strokes, but you can go low.
Right. Okay. And like, since you started playing then, did you ever have any moments where you stopped playing for a period, or since you started, have you just been full on with it ever since? Because I started, like I said, maybe about a year and a half ago. And I travel around quite a lot between Europe and other countries. So I found it really difficult to not only keep up the practice, but, I had for example, a coach in England where I made some really good progress and I was playing some really nice golf at the start. And then as soon as I moved out of the country and I was traveling around, I just couldn't find that same access to a teacher or to practice. And I just noticed the massive drop in my golf game because I was practicing, but I was almost trying to teach myself. I was still at a stage where I needed more coaching, and my level just dropped. And then I recently come back to the UK and started again with the same teacher, and my level's just gone straight back up again. So yeah, have you always kind of played consistently since you started, or did you ever have kind of like a year out, for example?
No, I've always played. I've never taken time off, only because of the fear of my game just going downhill. But it's also something I enjoy. I mean, I very much enjoy putting my bag on my back and walking by myself with nobody around. Sometimes I won't even play music. I'll just walk and listen and just enjoy being out there. So, people have their different hobbies that they like to do, and golf is very much my one. And it's the one that I can do with a group of people, I can do with one other person, or I can do by myself. And, I don't have to take every round serious. I don't have to grind over every putt, and I like it. I mean, I kind of equate golfing to hiking. I mean, you're in nature, you're outside, and you're walking around. Difference isn't just hitting a ball.
Yeah. I mean, I think it's great as well, just for the mental state. It really kind of clears my head. And as you said there, just walking around with nature and stuff like that, it's really good, I think, just for the mind, to play.
Agreed.
Yeah, so it's been really good. Just something I wanted to ask you about as well. I saw that you did an event, and it's one, to be honest, I'd never heard of, and I was quite surprised, with Zach Blair, and you got the opportunity to play. It's called The Ringer. Now, I don't know why, but I wasn't that I wasn't that up in terms of the information on this. Can you just explain for myself and the audience, if for anybody that doesn't know, what that event was all about? I believe it was something to do with him raising money to build a course. Was it in Ohio?
Yeah, so the Ringer is an event that I think is, and I can't talk in super detail about it only because I'm not that deep into that part of it, but my high level understanding of it is, so the Ringer is an event that's associated with Zach Blair's brand called the Buck Club.
Okay.
And the Buck Club, I believe, started out as a joke. It was this mythical course that Zach just wanted to make swag for, and people really started to catch on to it, and they wanted part of the swag. He is an incredibly talented individual, not only in golf, but also on the creative space as well. So he was making these hats and these different things, and people were wanting to buy it. And he was like, okay, well, it's not a real golf course, so you guys know this. And like, that's okay. That's kind of the fun part of it. So he started making more and more and more swag. People started to really catch on to it. It has blown up since then. It's one of the cooler brands out there as far as, head covers, t-shirts, hats, all that kind of stuff. And he continues just to kind of push the envelope. I think I saw yesterday on a post, he's looking to do slides, right, for shoes, just sandals.
Right.
So
Okay.
he's continuing to push the envelope on the different things that he can release with the logo on it. So then the Ringer is correlated with the Buck Club. And so the Ringer is kind of this event where all of these golf junkies who know Zach, who know the Buck Club, who know each other, can get together and play these different formats of golf. And he collaborates with so many cool people to make awesome tee gifts, awesome prizes. I mean, the table there to buy things is just like swagged out. There's just so much awesome stuff.
That's
So
cool.
that's what the Ringer is. And then I think what has happened since is that the Ringer has become a spot where so many people can come together that I think some of those people and Zach have gotten together and are going to start fulfilling Zach's dream of creating a golf course in South Carolina.
Right.
Um,
South Carolina.
so
Okay.
it's so funny because, so that's called the Tree Farm, and it's separate from the Buck Club and the Ringer. So they're almost two separate things that fall under the umbrella of Zach Blair.
Yeah, for what he's doing. Okay. So how did you get the opportunity to play in this then? How did that come about?
Yeah, so funny enough story. My friend of mine got an invite to it, and this was the second Ringer, and he got the invite. He was so excited for it, and then he saw the dates, and he was supposed to be at a wedding that weekend, and so he texted me and said, can you hear me? Okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. He texted me and said, I can't make this. I have a wedding. Do you want to go on my spot? And I was like, yeah, of course. So I ended up going in his spot, had a blast. Three of my other friends went too. So it was like a good group of us. It was at Sweetens Cove, which is just an unbelievable place to play golf and hang out. Come to find out after the event that he ended up not going to the wedding. So I felt really bad.
So why didn't he go in the end?
Something came up, he didn't go, and I was like, Miles, why didn't you say anything? And he's like,
Yeah.
well, because he's like, I wasn't gonna not go to the wedding and then go to a golf event. He's like, that wouldn't go well at home. And I was like, okay, fair enough. But I made sure that I bought him whatever swag he wanted and got him all the good stuff, because he was so nice enough to give me that opportunity. And then once you're in, well, this is how it was in the past. Once you're in, you kind of get grandfathered in. So then you just get asked to the next one and the next one and the next one until that happens. But I think what Zach is doing here in the future is he's going to kind of break away from that, because it's the same people coming over and over again, and not enough people are getting exposure into it. So he's going to start bringing in different people just to kind of cycle a new batch for everybody to get that experience.
Okay. So did he get like celebrities and other pros involved, or
No, it's mainly just mainly like the golf Instagram community junkies. I mean, like there are people that I guess someone would call like I don't know, like Instagram golf famous or whatever, that are there. Patrick Boyd, Tyson Lamb. I'm trying to think. There are been a couple Corn Ferry guys, but the majority of it are just everyday guys who just like golf and like to geek out over it, which is the cool part. Is that when you're done, you sit around, you hang out, everybody's chopping it up. You're meeting people from all across the country. There was actually a guy who came from England on the second one So he flew in for it. So yeah, you just get to, it's an awesome way to connect with a lot of really cool people.
So in terms of those next ones then, have you been invited to go back, or did you say now they're changing it all where they get all new people in, or have you been invited back to one?
I went to the second ringer, I went to the fourth ringer,
Okay.
and then I was invited to the fifth ringer, which just happened, but I was not able to attend that one.
Okay.
So I've been asked to go back since then. Some have worked out and some haven't.
Okay. I don't suppose, were you at the one where the guys from No Laying Up were there? I was reading a blog post about all these events, and I don't know if you're familiar with the podcast No Laying Up.
Mm-hmm.
But the two guys were there at one of the events, and both of them hit a hole in one on the same hole, I believe, in the same day. I don't know if you were at that event or not.
Yes, so I believe that was the second ringer, which yeah, we were all at,
Oh, cool.
and I had the opportunity to play with Neil and Randy.
Yeah.
And then DJ was carrying a bag for Rob Collins while I was playing. And
Oh, wow.
as cool as those guys, as cool as you think those guys are, like on the podcast and the things they do, they're even cooler meeting them in person.
Imagine.
Yeah, I mean, like you kind of put them like a little bit higher on this pedestal because of the platform they have and how they put themselves out there and the different things. But once you actually like sit down and talk with them or just even listen to them talk, right? And just chop it up, you're just like, yeah, this is why these guys are successful, is because they are like genuine individuals.
Yeah. No, I agree. So moving on a little bit in terms of your, like now moving over to the fashion and what you do on Instagram and all that kind of stuff. So which one did you start first? Was it Instagram that you kind of got going with first and then the podcast, or what was you thinking with all this? What made you kind of go onto social media and start to build up this kind of profile that you've got now?
Yeah, so it definitely started with the Instagram. My Instagram's been running for probably 8 years now, I guess,
Oh, okay.
roughly, give or take, maybe, I don't know. But it started there, and the podcast was just something I did just during quarantine. I mean, everybody was doing it.
Right.
But the real driver to the podcast was I have so many conversations with people in direct messages. I mean, it's like a second form of texting for me. Like I have friends that I have Instagram handles that I don't have phone numbers for, but you just have so many different conversations with people, whether it be like the guys from Mackenzie or, just some of my buddies who are really good golfers and like to have fun. And I was getting a lot of questions on different things. So for instance, like the Mackenzie golf bags, people are asking me, oh, what size bag should I do? What material should I use? What things should I think about putting the bag together? And I'm always happy to answer those questions and provide that information because that's a big purchase for a lot of people. So you want to make sure you get it right the first time.
I agree.
Even
So that's
though
when you
when you
kind of
do
move into that
one,
advisor role almost.
yeah, a little bit, yeah.
Uh-huh.
So what it turned into was, well, why don't I get the guys who make the bags on a podcast so that people can listen from the mouths of the people who make them
For sure.
and really have an idea of what to do. So then it turned into that. And then it was like, well, people ask me about golf fashion, what are fits, what are different brands. And so I got my buddy, Jordan Griggs, who's the Dapper Drive. I got him on to talk about, golf fashion. The guy he dresses incredibly well, and is very informative about all the different brands, even though he works for Grayson.
Okay.
But he is just, it's just, and that was the one thing is like we talked about high level, it doesn't have to be a Grayson piece. It can be anything, right? But this is what we're kind of looking for when we dress ourselves. And the same thing with my buddy Ian. He works for Grayson as a sales rep, but the guy dresses ridiculously good. And his level of fashion is very different. So you have Jordan who dresses awesome, and then Ian who dresses awesome. But each of them almost have their different styles, right?
Styles,
But they
yeah.
both work really well at the end of the day, which is great. So it was just kind of that, like, let's just inform, like that what podcasts are for. Let's just inform people in the golf world and answer so many questions, not only people who are directly asking me, but people who maybe are thinking about it, but just aren't going to ask, right? So
Yeah.
that was the idea behind the podcast. And hand up, I have been ridiculously lazy about it and have not put one out since, I guess, late last year. It's been
Pinspot, did
on
you
my radar. Huh?
on Pinspot, did you say you've not put one out recently?
Yeah, the last one I put
Okay.
out was with my friend Keith, who is the Sweet Spot Golf. So he's a creative individual. So we chatted there, but I've got some things in the works, and getting the podcast up and running is part of that plan.
Cool. And in terms of the fashion then, were you kind of into it before all that started with people asking you? Did you already have kind of an idea that, you know, I'm really into this kind of fashion side of golf? Or did it start to grow more on you when people were asking? Or did you already kind of know that's what you were into?
I've always liked to dress good, right?
Mhm.
I've always liked to present myself well. But it really wasn't like getting into the golf fashion aspect of things until like later in my golf career. So I was dressing more traditionally at the beginning. I mean, I saw a picture of myself from like 4 years ago, and I was like, oh my God. Like if I would have saw myself, I would have kicked my own ass. But it was just
What
kind
sort of
of
things were you wearing back then? What sort of brands
it
and
was like,
colours and stuff?
yeah,
Is it like,
like when I first,
We're talking Ricky Fowler style, like bright orange, bright yellow kind of stuff?
I think we've all been down that road at some point in our golf career, like where we rocked a pair of like orange and orange and orange. But
Sure.
yes, they're very, very, very early. There was that, Puma, Oakley kind of look. And
Yeah.
then it kind of evolved into Travis Matthew was like the big brand that I was into for a while. But even then, like this stuff was good. It just didn't really like fit me. And then wasn't until I found Grayson that I was like, okay, this is where we can start having a lot of fun and really looking good. Their stuff fits me incredibly well. Charlie and that team over there, they do an unbelievable job with really, to me, everything they do. But it was cool because they have this, you can wear, I feel like when people think or hear Grayson, they think loud print shirts and joggers, right? I mean, that's kind of like what first comes to your mind. Eric Van Rooyen, right? I mean, that guy dresses so
Yeah.
good, but
Yeah.
that's the main things you
Cool
see
guy
him
as
in the
well.
most.
He's a really cool
Oh,
guy.
is he?
Yeah.
But that's kind of like what you think whenever you hear Grayson.
Sure.
And I, what there is more to it is that you can do this great traditional look, which I feel like is kind of their main focal point right now of stripes and solids, and
Yeah.
their trousers are fantastic. Whether it be their Montauk or their Amagansett trousers. But then they also do this, you can wear a sweater or you can wear a hoodie. I mean, you can look good wearing
All
both.
look good.
And
Yeah.
you can really start to mix and match these things together, whether it's a pair of khaki trousers and a hoodie, or joggers and a sweater or cardigan. And
Mhm.
I love that because I love to wear dress shoes and I love to wear tennis shoes. And the fact that I can, use this brand and come up with everything, whether it's from traditional or, more in the now or more fashion forward kind of stuff, it's the best. And at the end of the day, the material and everything is fantastic. For me, it's, with a lot of these brands, whether it be the Flyers Club, Grayson, Solo Golf is another great one as well. The brands are fantastic. The clothing and what the people are doing is awesome, but it's the people behind all of these different organizations is what really makes these different brands who they are.
Sure.
I've had different conversations with the people within Grayson, and you always walk away from them and you're like, that's a family over there. Like everybody who works at that company, they're all one big
Yeah.
family, and it's fantastic. And then Solo, it is a family. It's Dan and Tess. I mean, it's a husband and wife combination,
Huh.
and they are just open. They are talented. I mean, Dan is meticulous about all of the specifics that go into each individual piece. I mean, I think he says that he'll go through 4 or 5 different samples just to get the right thing, which I love because
Yeah.
he's not just pumping stuff out to get out there.
Just for the
He's
sake
making
of it.
sure that it's quality, right?
Yeah.
And he's a
Quality over
small brand.
quantity.
Yeah,
Yeah.
he's a small brand. He has to do that. And then the Flyers Club, not a clothing company, but that brand with their travel and their swag and the guys, Omar and Eric and that team. I mean, they're awesome individuals, and people are really catching on to them. And once the borders open up and we can start going, internationally, and people feel comfortable with it, they're going to explode because the things
Yeah.
they're going to be able to do over in the EU and UK is just going to
Sure.
be fantastic. And everybody wants to get over there and play golf.
Yeah, for sure. I was going to ask you about that. Have you been over to Europe at all in your time to play some golf, or the UK?
I have been to Europe and the UK a handful of times.
What sort
I've
of countries?
never played golf.
Oh, you never played golf? Okay.
No.
Have
And
you got
the
some on a
closest I've
bucket list maybe where you've got it planned for the future that you want to go to? Any particular ones?
yeah, so I actually think that next year I will be taking a trip over there. But obviously, like, St. Andrews is high on everybody's course. I really need to do a lot more research on like my bucket list of places I want to play over there, only because
Yeah.
once I get over there, I think I just want to play them all.
Sure. I'm kind of like that at the moment. I've not like since I've really got into golf, I've not had a chance to play much in the UK. So I'm kind of just doing the same. I'm putting together this list now of anywhere or everywhere that I can play, but I just kind of want to play them all, no matter how bad they
Yeah,
are. Just get a test of
yeah,
them.
that was one of my things when I moved to California is I had no friends moving to California. I had people in the office. They were a little bit older. I had one buddy who was my age, but not a really big golfer. So what I
Yeah.
was doing is I'd go out and play all these different golf courses by myself because I just
Just meet
wanted to go
people.
play golf. Yeah, and I was meeting people, and all these people were telling me, "Oh, you should play this course. You should play this course. You should play this course." And I didn't want to be somebody that just kind of like blew people off and be like, "Okay, yeah, yeah, yeah." So I
Yeah.
started making a list on my phone in my notes section of all the different golf courses, and it turned into okay, how do I get on all these different golf courses and play them all? And I just want to plow through this list and attempt to play every golf course in California.
Wow. And I read something about you. You said that you keep a note of the people you play with and the courses you're playing and stuff like that. Is that true? You got some sort of like little journal that you keep now on every round?
I do. Yep. So it's been kind of the staple of one of my golf bags, which I think I'm going to evolve a little bit. So my one golf bag, basically the whole point of it is for me to take the bag and play a course with random people or buddies. That's a new course. So there are some kind of rules behind it. One, I have to play a full 18. Two, it has to be the first time that the bag has seen the bag or I've played the course. I'm sorry, the bag has seen the course. And then three, I have to be playing with somebody, right? It has to be somebody different or, and really anyone. I just can't be going out there by myself and logging it. So the whole point is like the whole point of the book is the courses that I've played, the people that I've played them with, and, kind of the journey that we've been through together. So it's
Mhm.
been cool. The first time the bag went out was in Pinehurst,
Okay.
and we played two courses. So we played 36 holes in one day. And on the second round, we played a course called Tobacco Road. It
Okay.
was me and two of my buddies in one cart. So we just rode three deep on the whole
Oh,
time. And my friend Phil got his first hole in one. So it was like
oh wow.
really cool to see that. I got to log that in the book and be like,
Have you
Phil's
recorded?
first hole in one. No, I actually don't think. No, so we had a group of five of us playing together in one group, and then there was a group of like probably 12 of us on another tee box. So we were running behind because we had played 18 in the morning while everybody else was coming in.
Sure.
So we were hitting. So the way that it worked is the green was down here and the next tee box was up here. So
Uh,
everybody was sitting on the tee box and they
uh-huh.
were watching us hit balls.
Wow.
And my buddy Phil hit a great shot. Our friend Tyson said, "Oh, that's going to be short," and then it just rolled in the hole,
What on
and
to?
we all freaked out. So yeah, it was awesome. I don't even think any of us in the group pulled our phones out. We were just kind of like walking up to the green or walking up to the tee box, like kind of dorking around, having a
Yeah.
drink, and then Phil hit a shot, and everybody just exploded.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, sometimes you just don't. If you start getting your phone out to record and stuff, you maybe just lose that sense of fun on a golf course. I mean, at least I do. Um, I started at one point where I wanted to try and film some of my rounds and kind of give almost like a golf course review, get some shots in there as well. But then the moment I was thinking about recording and getting the right spots and all that kind of thing, I just then lost that kind of sense of me just enjoying the round of golf and everything around me. But
It's a very tricky line to walk of,
yeah,
capturing content for whatever platform that you want to put it on, but also at the same time, like enjoying your round and being present in the moment of the people you're playing with.
sure, I
And
agree.
then also in the mix of all of this, like playing semi-decent golf, right?
Sure.
It's very tough.
Yeah. Well, I find as soon as if somebody's recording me, that's when I start to lose it, because I know somebody's there and then I hit a duff shot or something like that. And it's like, oh, just forget it. Stop recording.
But you know what? Those, like I was talking with a friend, too many swing videos or pictures or whatever on Instagram are just people that are hitting the perfect golf shot. And I don't think we have enough bad golf shots, because
Agreed.
we all know that one golf shot that that person hit that they posted was like the one of 120 good golf shots. You know, like 119 shots sucked, and that one shot was really good.
Yeah.
But I think, you know, posting the bad shots just kind of helps everybody else realize that not everybody is this fantastic golfer. Like, everybody hits bad shots. It's how you react and move on from it.
Yeah, I mean, I completely agree. There was one good piece of advice that my teacher here gave me, and he's an ex-European tour player over here in Europe. And he basically just said to me, I don't want to see the good shots. You know, I always used to send him that one good one that I did. And because I had this feeling of, well, I don't want my teacher to see me doing something bad. I want him to see that it's working. But he said to me, the best thing you can do is send me all the bad ones, and I can tell you exactly what it is that you're doing wrong when you hit the bad ones. If you hit the good ones, then great. But I want to see what you do when you hit the bad ones, so we can make more of the good ones.
Yep, exactly. That's good. That's great advice.
Yeah, so that really worked for me. So going like a little bit back to your golf game then, I mean, how do you feel out on the course? What's like the shot that you like to hit? What's the shot that you don't like to hit? What's the good parts and bad parts about your game, in your personal opinion?
So the shots that I like to hit are probably cuts. That's pretty much my go-to like shot. I don't hate hitting draws. I just hate when a shot demands a draw because I can't hit it. So I guess I hate it. But if I can hit it, I love it.
Yeah.
But yeah, so that's the shots that I prefer to hit. My weakness on the course, where I see kind of the most strokes, is my driver, right? It's just very sporadic. There will be days that I'll be pumping it, and there will be days that it will be left, it will be right. It's just unpredictable. So dialing in that club is one of the main focuses right now that I have. My putting has dramatically been one of my more clutch clubs in the bag. I've been using an app called Golf Guru, which the guys who do Golf Guru are over in the UK. But it's a mental health, not mental health, but it helps you mentally with golf and that side of the game. So like you're doing right now, you're taking less. It's a little bit of everything. So like you're doing right now, you have a swing coach, right? So physically he is getting you ready to, you know, get your golf game where it needs to be. But not many people talk about like the mindset of playing golf, or, you know, where your mind is during a round of golf. So part of it is like driving to the course and the things you think about driving to the course, picturing shots, picturing the course. Some of it is while you're practicing, right? So putting yourself in pressure situations while you're practicing to emulate what you'll be doing on the golf course. And one of the ones that I love is their putting one. So basically put the headphones in and you're out and you're putting, and they have you stand over the ball, and they have this really long, like beeping noise that starts low and then it gets very, very, very loud. And then a bell hits, and then you have to putt. And then you have to be like,
just during practice, or you do this kind of thing on the course?
During practice. So this is like what you're doing while you're practicing. So it's nice because it's, you know, again, it's putting you in situations that are like pressure situations during your practice to emulate what would happen on the course. But it's been an awesome app. I love it. And I have been using it and listening. The one thing that I always think about too during the mental side of the game is when you're on the course and it's a course you played time and time again, and you step on the tee box and you say, shit, I always lose my drives right here. And it's like, before you even hit that drive, that ball is going to the right. Because that's where your mind's at. Or you try and overcorrect it, and then you go way off left. Exactly. Exactly.
Exaggerate maybe something, and then it goes way left. Yeah, I know what you mean.
I mean, so that's.
I think it's true, right? I think the less kind of swing thoughts or thoughts in general that you have during any shot in golf is always the better. I mean, again, I had a class this morning and I had a similar sort of experience. As soon as I start thinking about what I'm doing with my swing or having any sort of thought about the shot, it just tends to go wrong. I need to be in a clear headspace whereby my body and my mind knows what I'm doing in my swing. And that's what seems to always, result in the best shots.
Yep.
Yeah. Okay, cool. So go back to the fashion side of it now. What's your sort of plan with that now with your Instagram? Is there anything else you kind of want to get into in the fashion side of golf, or any new kind of challenges you want to get into? Anything you've got planned?
So I have in the works a website right now. So it's going to be called it's going to be called golfcoursegeeks.com. So on that platform, we'll have a couple different things, like a golf fashion blog, like an official blog will be one.
Mm-hmm.
My buddy is going to be doing a section for golf fitness. So different movements you can do to kind of keep your body strong while you play golf.
Mm-hmm.
Our idea is to have kind of this Sugarloaf inspired map of different courses across the United States that you can go play that, maybe are known or not known. And then the other thing is that if there's people right in the golf community that are in that area that would want to play with people as they come in, kind of putting their Instagram handle on there to say, hey, if you're in, Missouri, you can play with this person, and put their Instagram handle on there, and you can shoot them a DM and, figure out if you guys can get something going. So I think connecting the people through it would be one thing. We're going to have a little bit of swag stuff that we'll be selling. And then one of the main focuses of it is going to be just donating back to companies that are not-for-profits in the golf industry to kind of help them continue to truly grow the brand. So two of them that I always go to are For the Ladies, where my friend Abby is pushing to get women into the game of golf, but as a not-for-profit organization.
You did a podcast with Abby, right?
Yep.
Oh.
And then the other one is National Links Trust, which is a company that is going out and they are renovating older golf courses that maybe people have looked over, and kind of bring them back to life to their true bones, where they're very good golf courses. So East Potomac is like their first big kickoff project that they're doing, and that's located out in the DC, Virginia area. So I'm going to have a section that's like, it's like the donate section, right? So each month we might call out a different non-for-profit, and there'll be an area where you can just directly donate money to them through that platform. So hopefully that drives, one, more looks at these companies, and two, money towards them to continue to do what they're doing.
Sure. Have you ever thought about working more with like other like brands as sort of an advisor? I know that it's what you like to do when people talk to you on Instagram, but have you ever thought about getting involved with other brand companies and working as some sort of advisor for them, or does that not interest you?
No, it definitely interests me. I just have never really given it any thought. I think my thought with it is always the people and helping the people dress a little bit better. Because,
Okay.
I mean, let's be honest, like golf fashion is behind like regular fashion in general. And I feel like there's still more of this traditional country club kind of look.
Sure. I mean, I was going to ask
you,
what do you make of like what the professionals wear now? Is that something that you just would never wear in terms of the big brands and stuff like that? Or what do you make of like what the professionals are currently wearing?
Yeah, I mean, I think there are very good dressers on tour. Justin Thomas, Eric Van Rooyen, Billy Horschel, Adam Scott has always been known to be kind of this fashion icon in golf. I mean, all those individuals are fantastic dressers. And then you have more like traditionalist dressers. I think, Dustin Johnson is one that comes to mind. He kind of keeps it very simple, but always looks really good when he dresses. And then there are people who are just wearing like the most obscene stuff to wear, like John Daly, like the loudmouth pants. He just kind of like what? I mean, they're
like the United States flag or something.
Yeah, they're not like, it's not for me, it's for him. But you're just kind of like, man. But my hope is with the golf fashion is that people start to realize that they don't have to be golf brands for you to wear them on the course, right? So
Yeah.
Lululemon is a perfect example. Lululemon is not golf clothing, but they make polos, they make really nice pants, right? They're ABC pants, they're ABC joggers, and those are items that can be worn on the golf course. The same thing with like non-traditional golf brands too. I mean, it you can really wear
Brands that
anything.
aren't necessarily known as golf brands.
Right, not like the outside of the FootJoys
Sure.
and Adidas and Peter
Right.
Millar's, right? Yeah, like these different clothing brands that I feel like when people go golf, they're like, oh, I have to go get a golf polo. Well, don't
Yeah.
you just have a polo? Or what golf course are you playing? Like, just go wear a t-shirt. Like, you can
Just
do
get
that.
a polo.
Not everywhere demands. Yeah, like my thing this summer is wearing gym shorts or more athletic shorts and polos, and then for the more evening time wearing kind of like a full slip jacket. And that was a look that my buddy Ian wore. And I was like, that's sick. Like, I'm going to do that. But that's kind of my thing. Like I went to St. Louis recently and I got asked to go play at a country club and I didn't bring shorts because I didn't pack properly. So I had to roll into the country club wearing gym shorts and they didn't say anything because I don't think they picked up on it. But we were playing and the guy who asked me out, he's like, are you wearing gym shorts? And I'm like, yeah, they're the only shorts I have. And he's like, well, they look nice. He's like, the pro shop didn't say anything. I said, no, I don't pay attention. And it's like, okay, cool. So I think people are just so stuck in this, oh, this is what a golfer looks like. Yeah. Yeah. Like the quarter zips and the polos and the hats and the khakis. And like they need to think outside of the box of what a golfer can look like. Right. So, really think outside of your bubble of what you wear. And I'm not saying rock, cut off jean shorts and a tank top, but like you can be creative and fun, still stick in the realm of respect for when you show up to the course.
Yeah.
But, you look good. It happens to me all the time. There are so many times where I'll be paired up with a random, he'll walk up on the first tee box. I'll make that snap, judgment of him based on the way that he looks, whether he's a good golfer or not. And I will probably 90% of the time be wrong because the guys who walk up that look, and they probably see the same in me, they walk up and like, oh, this is what he's doing. And then I tee off and they quickly find out that I don't. But it's like the people who show up who just kind of have like the raggedy bag and the old clubs and like, they threw an outfit together and you're like, okay, this guy's just out here hacking it. And then they're shooting 2 over or 1 under. And you're like, oh, they're more worried about their game than they are about the way they look. Yeah. And the people who show up who look dressed to the nine and like they're ready to go, they just left the big box store and found the most golf outfit to wear. And then that's what they're showing up in.
That's funny. I mean, you talked a little bit before then about the smaller brands, how, they focus maybe more on the quality rather than just pumping out anything. Do you kind of feel with the bigger brands then, maybe the ones that are worn on tour, that they maybe do that a little bit where they're just trying to get out the newest thing for people to buy? Or is there any bigger brands out there that you're really into at the moment?
Really from like the brand standpoint that I'm into, it's 99% Grayson. And then, Solo is in there as well. There are other brands that I see that I like, but I just like, I don't think I can pull them off. So like, Rada is another one that I think is doing like really cool stuff, but it's just like not for me. Devereaux is another one where Devereaux makes really cool prints, fun stuff, like, clothing that I feel like a lot of people could get on. But again, it's just not my style. Yeah. So I mean, like the Peter Millar's, the FootJoys. I mean, Adidas does some really cool stuff in the golf space. I mean, they're always like, they shock me sometimes where, my personal take on it is that Adidas will never make anything that will be like loud and blow you away, but they do really, really well at like the staples of things you need and like that staple color line. Like they're very good in that space, in my opinion.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, that's kind of but yeah, that's kind of my outlook on it, I guess. Did that answer your question?
Yeah, definitely. And in terms of the pro game, do you watch much of it? Because I've met like a few golfers, and this surprised me at first, but they're just so into golf like I am and you are. but then they don't really actually watch the game on TV or anything like that. What are you like? Are you just somebody that loves to play and doesn't really bother watch it, or are you full on? You're watching every tournament every weekend, etc.?
Oh, full in. I mean, I might not be watching every round of every tournament, but I am in the know of what's going on with all of them. I'm aware. I can, go through and name tour players that aren't your top 10 tour players.
Sure.
And if I wake up early enough, I'll throw on European golf. I love it. I think the commentary is fantastic.
Mm-hmm.
I think the courses look awesome. I will throw that on in the morning time, have a cup of tea, and not ironically, I just like to drink tea, but have a cup of tea and just sit and watch golf in the morning time.
Get your English hat on.
Yeah.
Cup of tea in European golf.
Yeah, exactly.
So, what sort of players are you into in terms of their game at the moment? What sort of tournaments do you like watching in terms of the pro games in either Europe or over there in the States?
Yeah, my favorite tour player is Justin Thomas. One, he is, he went to Alabama, which is a huge football school, but is quickly becoming a good golf school. Okay. I like Jordan Spieth. Eric Van Rooyen is another one of my favorite tour players. I mean, those are people that I'm obviously Tiger Woods. I mean, I kind of feel like that's just a given for a lot of people.
Am I right saying that Eric?
Yeah, I mean, I like to watch those guys.
Sorry, Mike. I was just going to say, is Eric the one that has like the short trousers, right? He has that kind of style of kind of high cut, not high cut. I don't know. He has like the higher trousers above his shoes. Is that Eric?
Yeah. So Eric is he's a Grayson athlete, right? Oh. So he's sponsored by Grayson, and yeah, he's known to wear the joggers, so where like it's more like a slim fit, and then the cuff just comes up above kind of the ankle a little bit.
Yeah.
Yep.
But yeah, so cool that style. I like that style.
Yeah, and what's funny is that the style of the jogger is actually inspired by Payne Stewart's knickers. So how Payne would wear the high socks and then kind of have the pants into those. So they were inspired by that. So to me, I feel like so many people are saying that the jogger is just a trendy thing to have on the course or to wear, but I feel like it's quickly kind of becoming another trouser for people to wear that's been acceptable, right? To me, like I love to wear them in the morning time where it's super dewy because my bottom of my pants are not getting wet. And then, more of like if it's a rainy round or a wetter round, like I'll wear my joggers too. I wear my joggers 90% of the time I play golf anyway. But like those are the two of the main times that I'll wear them because they stop so low, so high above the ankle that your pants aren't getting wet as you're walking around, which I appreciate.
Okay. Yeah. I mean, I do like his fashion. I could just picture him now. I was trying to think of what he was wearing, and then so they had that memory. It was like this short jogger. So the first thing I thought when I saw it, I was like, I need to get myself a pair of those because at the moment I've got like the traditional ones that fall over the kind of tongue of the shoe, and I was looking at those like I definitely did a pair of those. So those pants themselves, are they Grayson as well?
Yes, they're Grayson.
Get myself a pair of those. So in terms of the tournaments then, like what sort of tournaments do you like watching? Which ones are your favorites to tune into normally?
I mean, the Masters is always number one, I think, for everybody. It's a great tradition. It's an awesome tournament. You just love kind of what happens. But yeah, I don't know. I mean, I kind of like them all. I mean, the majors, the Open, right, is always top of the list. And with the way that they've restructured the major calendar, I love that it's now the finishing major of the year, which is great. But yeah, I mean, like those are probably like my main two that I get the most excited for. And then I love the Dell match play. And then I've really come to like the one in Louisiana. I can't remember the name of the tournament where they do kind of teams and they do like the team event.
Yeah, I think they did it fairly recently. Is that the one that was it Billy Horschel that won it or Scotty Scheffler when they did they pair them together in?
Yeah, it's like you and somebody else, and then you are like a team for the week.
I know what you mean, but I can't think of the name either. But yeah, I can't think of the name either.
Yeah, but that's been a new one. It's been cool. It's been fun to see. It's different, right?
Yeah,
I would love to see more kind of this crossover of LPGA and PGA, and
I
if they can
agree.
do things in that realm. I think that's an area of opportunity for both organizations.
Yeah, for sure. Did you see the mixed event they did fairly recently? I think it was Henrik Stenson that hosted it, and they had kind of the mix of the LPGA players and the PGA, or some European tour players as well. I think they had a big mixture, but it was all men and women.
Yeah, I did. And was there one in Australia that they do as well?
Possibly, yeah. I didn't see that one, but they might do. Yeah, I saw the one and it was Henrik Stenson hosting it, and I was the kind of saying after watching that, I was like, it'd be really cool to see this more often and have kind of everybody play together. I think because they always say, that the women probably won't finish anywhere near the men, but I think there was I can't remember her name, but she finished like second or third, and she played incredible. So yeah, I think I'd like to see more events like that.
Yeah, I agree. I totally agree.
Have you ever had like the chance to go to any of the majors over there or tournaments in general? Do you try and get to the tournaments or not so much?
Yeah, I have been to tournaments. I went to the PGA in Valhalla.
Wow.
That was
Wow.
probably like 7 years ago. That was a lot of fun. I got to go on Sunday where Rory finished in the dark and won.
Yeah.
But one of the coolest events that I have ever been to, just sporting in general, I mean, it doesn't even matter that it was golf, was the Ryder Cup when it was at Hazeltine.
Okay.
That was
Awesome.
such an experience to go to. I mean, it was again the most amazing just event that I've ever attended.
I can imagine. The atmosphere of those things are just like incredible. Just
It's
incredible.
incredible. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's
I think
absolutely
that's
incredible.
probably the one that's on my bucket list. I mean, I'd love to get to the ones in the United States as well and the Open, but I think as well the Ryder Cup is that one that's on my list. It's just there's a different type of vibe there. The way the crowd gets so up for it, and they're singing the players' names sometimes before they tee off. I think it's not something you normally get in golf, right? You get the cheers, and we've all seen the kind of atmosphere you have when like Tiger at the Masters a couple of times, but I saw them once all cheering Sergio Garcia's name and literally singing to him before the tee off, and I was like, I've never seen that in golf before. So I think it just has this
Yeah,
extra vibe to it. And I remember like was it Patrick Reed and McIlroy that kind of had a little bit of a go with each other, and it kind of created that
yep,
bit of blood. And I think that kind of stuff was awesome to see.
yeah, yeah. That was a lot of fun to watch. They were having a good time with it too.
Yeah. So, what's your plans now in terms of golf in North California? Are you living there all the time now? Are you planning on moving anywhere else, or are you kind of set there?
So we're set here. Yeah, we've been here for just over 2.5 years,
Okay.
and the plan is just to play as much golf as possible and to connect with as many people. I've started keeping a list of all the different people that I've interacted with on social media that are in the area. Kind of their name and the general area that they are. One thing that I've noticed about myself, recently is that I've been kind of falling into this trend of this kind of the same course or same courses and then
Mhm.
kind of the same people. So
Sure.
I'm trying to make more of a conscious effort to reach out to these other people that are in my area that have said like, hey, if you're available, I'd love to play golf with you, and
Yeah.
really start to connect with them. Kind of branch out a little bit more as far as attacking this list of courses again, and really connecting with more people that are in my area.
Yeah. I think that's been really good. I mean, like I said, I did the same, and within a couple of weeks, I've met 2 or 3 people whereby I or they have said, we should catch up sometime and have a round of golf. And I didn't kind of expect that. And I think that's been really good to do. And I can see on your Instagram, you've got quite a big following there already. I mean, how did you get to this stage that you're at now? I mean, was it something whereby you wanted to go out and build, kind of your social following, or was it something just happened through connecting with other golfers?
I mean, I feel like anybody who gets on Instagram wants to expand their reach, right? So whether that's gaining more followers or whatever it may be, like that's kind of your goal is you want to branch out, you want to connect with people. So yeah, it's always been a goal of mine to, just obviously gain and connect with as many people as possible.
Yeah.
I obviously do. I do have a goal. Like my girlfriend and I are in a race for this year. So she runs our dog's Instagram account. So it's
Oh, cool.
either she's on path to hit 20K and I'm on path to
I was gonna
hit
say
10.
competing with dogs is difficult. I know golf
It's
is fun,
and
competing with cute dogs is gonna be difficult.
yeah, and she's so good at it. Like
Yeah.
it's gonna be. I mean, it's a race. Like we're neck and neck right now. So my goal is to hit 10K, and I only want to hit 10K just for the sheer fact that I can just tell everybody to swipe up. Just everything. It seems like swipe up, swipe up, swipe up. Like whatever it may be, it doesn't matter.
That's when you know
But
you're made
that's
on Instagram.
yeah. So that's my one goal this year is to hit 10K for my, kind of my following. But,
Yeah.
when it comes to what I post, like I post what I like.
Mhm.
Um, you know, I do like when people comment or like it because it makes me feel like, okay, what I'm doing is
It's
cool
good.
and people are
Yeah.
liking it. But at the end of the day, like I've had multiple posts where I've put a post up and I was like, this picture is awesome, or this video is funny or whatever it may be, and it might not get the love that I thought it was going to get, and I'm
Yeah.
okay with it
It's the way it goes,
because
right? Sometimes you do
yeah.
content that is just awesome, and then sometimes you find out it doesn't work. But that's the way that you can find out what works for your audience as well.
Yeah, and the other thing too is you're always playing this game with the algorithm.
Mhm.
So the time in which you post and the hashtags in which you post, and even with reels, the music you're using to put the reel in, like you're always kind of playing this little game, and you just have to quickly realize that if it didn't hit, it doesn't mean that it's not liked by a ton of people. It just means it didn't work that day. But I like it and I put it out there, and
Yeah.
some people saw it, and that's all that really matters.
Yeah.
Um,
I was just going to say, because it's something that I've been looking into as well recently with my YouTube channel in particular, because I just want to cover all things golf, but then there's also kind of a lot of sub niches in golf. So for example, I could cover stuff like yourself, whether it's fashion, whether it's course reviews or doing podcasts. But then I was kind of like, well, what's if people don't like the fashion side of it? Or some people only like the podcast? How do I kind of try and find something that all my subscribers or all my followers are gonna enjoy, basically? But that's why I said to myself, it's just maybe try and find the sub niche that people seem to be interested in, and as long as I'm interested in it, then stick with that.
Yep, absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. That's all that matters is if you're interested in it. In your to go back to your question of, how did I kind of grow the following that I have,
Mhm.
which isn't a lot. I mean, it's only 8,000 followers, so it's not like we're, 20,000 or whatever in, but
Yeah,
I all of my followers are awesome and I interact with so many of them. I love it. And I think that's one of the key things to do is, and I kind of preach this a lot, but
yeah.
it's so easy to double tap and like a photo,
Mhm.
right?
Yeah.
Or if you see something in a story that you like, you hit the quick emoji button and it pops up the emoji.
Yeah.
But you really start to make a connection with people when you comment on the photo and tell them like, "Hey, this is a sick shot," or ask
Yeah.
them about, "Hey, what were you thinking when you took this photo?" Or if you
Yeah.
see something in somebody's story, actually sending them a genuine like, "Hey, this is really cool. Like, this is an awesome photo. You should put it in your feed," or whatever it may be. Like, I feel like
Yeah.
that's when you start to make a deeper connection with people. And the other thing too is the more you comment, the more other people see those comments, and now they start interacting with the conversation as well. And now you start to kind of expand your reach because you're talking with other people who you may not have talked with before because your stuff just didn't come across their feed or their explore page. So I think the biggest thing is that people need to do is just interact. And when you interact, it doesn't matter whether that person has 150 followers or 150,000 followers, right?
Yeah.
I mean, somebody with 150 might not see the DMs or the comments, but don't let that number scare you away or think that, oh, this person might not respond or this person might not do that.
Yeah.
Everybody's everybody, right? I mean, nobody is better than anybody else on Instagram because we're all just there and we're all showing the best part of our lives in some standpoint, which is why you should show more bad shots. But yeah, I mean, it's just kind of like
Show
interact
what's
with the people
real
who you're
and
following. I
express
mean,
it with purpose. I think what you said there was great. I mean, if you're going to like a photo, maybe comment and say why you liked it. What did you like about the photo, rather than, as you said, just hitting that button. It shows just that little bit more interest.
Yep. Totally agree.
For sure. And what sort of advice would you give to people that maybe want to, whether it is on Instagram or other social platforms, create kind of a brand in the fashion sub niche of golf? What sort of advice would you give to people that want to try and do that?
So if you're looking to expand your Instagram or your YouTube or, your Facebook or whatever, to me, it's all about consistency. You just have to be consistently putting out content. And at some point, things are going to hit for people. But if you are sporadic at it, obviously the platform is not going to award people who are sporadic, right? So you have to be consistent in what you're doing and just be true to what you're doing. Do it because you like it. Do it because it interests you. Like that's the biggest thing. Just be consistent, evolve, right? That's another thing, like evolve in what you're doing. So
part of fashion, isn't it? Well, you have to evolve with the fashion, with the new thing.
Absolutely. Yeah, 100%. Yeah, so it's just, I think that's what it is. It's, be consistent, evolve with what you're doing, and try different things, right? So if you're doing photography, figure out how to do video. You might not be awesome at the beginning. Chances are you weren't awesome at photography at the beginning either. But just continue to learn more and expand, and people recognize like where you were and where you are. And so many people, I think, want to try these things, and a lot of people don't, just for whatever reason. So if you're able to show them maybe what they want to see because you expanded from photography to video, then you're going to kind of get a bigger community around you.
For sure. Okay, well, I think I'm going to wrap up there on that great final piece of advice. So for anybody that wants to find you, Mike, Pins and Passports is the best place to get you on Instagram. Is there anywhere else anybody can find you?
Nope, Pins and Passports right now. And then here coming soon, we'll have the website launched, but you'll see that communication through that Instagram.
Okay, so just remind us, what's the website going to be? Or do you not know yet?
The website is going to be golf course. Yep, it'll be www.golfcoursegeeks.com.
Perfect. All right, well, thank you very much, Mike. I appreciate having you on here and appreciate you taking the time out to speak to me. It's been great talking to you.
Absolutely. It's been a fantastic conversation. Let's do it again.
Yeah, I'll do it again sometime. Good to meet you. All right. Thank you, guys.